Hi, this is Baltimore Weekly, episode 21, GBTC's weekly roundup of interesting people, places, and things here in the great city and region of Greater Baltimore. My name is Andrew Hazlett, and I've been working here at GBTC for some time, and this is our opportunity to talk to people in the community doing interesting things and share with you some news about upcoming events. My usual co-host, Sharon Paley, is out convalescing from surgery that went very well, so I'm sure you all will join me in extending our fond best wishes for a rapid recovery to Sharon. And I will not attempt to keep up with the sarcasm and cutting remarks that you have all come to expect from Sharon, but you'll see those again soon. Today, I'll be in a moment going into a list of really exciting upcoming things. But first, we wanted to reach back into the mists of time about a week and a half ago and hear about how a very important and cool event unfolded here, and that is Baltimore Startup Weekend. And I'm joined this afternoon by our friend Sarge Salman, who is one of the organizers, along with Nick Miller and Mike Brenner of Baltimore Startup Weekend. Sarge, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I'm well. So, what is Startup Weekend? It's not something that started here in Baltimore, right?
That's correct. It's not. Actually, Startup Weekend is a program that was started by the Kauffman Foundation. And the Kauffman Foundation is a very important organization in America. They've expended a lot of resources studying entrepreneurship, but also promoting it as well. And it started off as a small project, has been ultimately spun off as its own nonprofit. And basically, you can read all the books you want in entrepreneurship, you can watch all the movies, but until you go through it, you really have no sense of what it's like. And this is really what Startup Weekend is all about. It's 54 hours, begins on Friday evening and ends on Sunday evening. And we bring in together a mix of developers, designers, and non-technical folks, and put them together, and with the support of coaches, and facilitators and our judges to go through the weekend to see what it's like when a lot of people saying, oh, I have this idea. But Startup Weekend is really about what happens next. Once I have that idea, what is the next thing that must happen? Well, and that's really what it's about. And I think some of the lessons people learn is, you cannot do it alone. One person cannot do it. It takes all sorts of skill sets. Because as you know, most startups fail. They don't fail for technical reasons. They fail for non-technical reasons. And to see what it takes, how hard it actually is. But it's really it's an awesome experience for everyone involved, and we're just delighted that we're able, given an opportunity to put such an event together.
Yeah. So, where was the event held?
It was held
on this most recent occasion.
At AOL, advertising.com. It's a great location downtown at Tide Point. And Paris Pittman, who's really our contact with that company, just was outstanding in her support and making the room available to us, as well as some couple of volunteers from AOL. It's just a great venue, massive spaces, so you can have teams. I mean, some teams practically moved in. A couple of designers brought in their big iMacs, and nice. It was just a great location.
So how long? How many teams? Or first of all, how many people pitched ideas on the first night of Startup Weekend?
Let me give you some of the stats that I looked up. So in terms of total participants, in terms of developer, designers, and non-technicals, we counted 76. We had 33 developers, 11 designers, and 30 non-technicals. So that's about 45% developers, 15% designers, and 41% non-technicals. I don't have the count of how many people pitched. We certainly encourage most everyone to pitch, but there were 15 final presentations. But to tell you, we had participants from Maryland, New Jersey, Virginia, as far south as North Carolina, and as far north as Connecticut, and of course 6 judges and coaches. And what really our role as organizers was making sure that all the attendees had an awesome experience. And that means also bringing in the coaches. When I went out, one of the things that I focused on for Startup Weekend was the customer development. This is about making sure people know about the event and recruiting them to join us for the weekend. Sent out 115 emails, attended 3 pizza parties, Hopkins, Mike Towson, including I reached out to 13 academic institutions, put up flyers, and that way, we make sure we have a diverse mix of attendees. And so our role was the value, I think, of such an event was, one, it's about learning, because the attendees are going to learn how to apply the skills they already know, and they're going to learn about some skills that they don't know about, that, working together towards an objective of delivering a prototype. It's also about making connections, including with the team members that they're going to be working on, which usually they do not know, but also, and this is something I certainly stress to the students that are going to be entering the workforce soon, is connections with the coaches that we recruited for them and the judges. So it's really just it's a rich opportunity for that, and it's to get a chance to build something and launch a company perhaps, and ultimately join a worldwide community of Startup Weekend alums. And what's really, I think, attractive to me as an organizer about Startup Weekend is that it is just such a professional and well-packaged, program for anyone to put together all over the world and all sorts of different languages. So it's an awesome, awesome international organization, and we're just been very happy to be able to be affiliated with them.
Yeah, well, and in addition to learning, and people form real businesses that can potentially take off, right? I mean, I'm thinking of Nick Miller's Parking Panda example, right?
And as I told him on the first night, is if I were present at the prior Startup Weekend, which I wasn't, if I heard someone pitch the idea of renting out their driveway for some extra money when they're not using it, I would have laughed. But it goes to show you that it's not. Ideas are really a dime a dozen, and a lot of people have ideas, but ultimately it's in the execution, and that's really what it's about. And what we hoped is that the attendees, when they go through this weekend, realize that it is hard. The first thing you have to do is you have to validate who your customers are, and then you have to validate what problems your customers have, and then look at the solution. And so this is not easy. It is hard, but it's worth it. Certainly, but you don't have to take my word for it, Andrew. I put up a bunch of on the YouTube page of the Baltimore Lean Startup some testimonials. I mean, I just walked around on Sunday, asked the attendees what they learned, and you can just watch the YouTube videos yourself and see what people have said. And some of the people on there you'll see, there's AJ, who's on the faculty at Howard. He teaches computer science. He had very interesting things to say. There's Laura, who's an attorney, had good comments. There's Jen, who works at Booz. She works in process and had great insight. And there's a third-year medical student from the University of Maryland. So it's just, I think, watching those at the end, made us feel that, that all this hard work was really worthwhile, because this really was an awesome experience. And furthermore, the judges, Mike Sabelski, who's one of our judges, who kindly agreed to participate. Mike is out and about in the community. He's everywhere. He walked in and said, boy, there are a lot of new faces here I don't recognize. And I thought, good.
That's really good, yeah.
And Yair Flicker of Smart Logic, he made the same comment too. So I think in that sense we succeeded in our outreach to bring in people that it's not the same old group that gathers, but in fact we brought in, hope that we augmented and enriched our community locally. And this is of course just the beginning. And
Right. Well, so what are can you give examples of I guess you can tell us who won, and also maybe what kinds of ideas kind of bubbled up in the course of the weekend. Are there? Do you expect to see any of these companies, continuing applying to accelerators, getting funding, or just going into business in the coming months?
The team that won didn't develop a prototype. Actually, they developed a full product, and it's just simply a way for companies to manage passwords for password access for their various companies. And they really did an outstanding job. But I think it's very easy to focus on the winner. But I'd like to focus on the 14 other teams that did not win and see what they got out of it. And then, because ultimately, I think that's how we judge. You should judge the process. It's about the people that do not win. What did they get out of it? And the ideas range from a tool to an app to teach children how to calculate money and the concept of finance, to apps for self-guided tours. It really ran the gamut. And it's just there's no, we don't place any limits on what ideas people can pitch. In fact, they can pitch anything they want. Ultimately, the main purpose of this is about learning. And for all the the serial entrepreneurs out there, everyone knows startup companies. It's very hard, and it's a high risk undertaking. So chances are you are going to fail. But what matters is the next one you do. And so this is about applying what you learn and moving on. So in that sense, what I find very heartening is I know that the other 14 teams suddenly started. I've seen them join the Baltimore Tech Group on Facebook. They started joining some of our meetups, and so that's a good sign. Is that the engagement has just begun, and then things will continue. And that's ultimately, I think, what the community, our role ought to be, is to facilitate that process. Because if they succeed, I think we succeed. But if they fail, we cannot succeed.
That's a good point. And the overall, there's been this growing community in Baltimore of tech-oriented entrepreneurs who are finding one another. But it's very easy to, once you've got like a Facebook group set up, to think, oh, well, this is everybody. But no, I mean, as you've proved, there are so many new faces to bring in, so many people who aren't aware of this growing scene. So hats off to you guys for broadening that and planting the flag.
I really, honestly, Andrew, I don't view it. We're really not planting a flag. We're just continuing the effort started by others, and certainly gb.tc has taken a leadership role in that sense. But we live in a metropolis of what, 2.5 million people. That's how, like I said, I sent out 115 emails and the pizza parties. But you have to do those things, otherwise, I think community withers So, but I think this was just, to me, it's a no-brainer. That's what we have to do, because otherwise it's going to be the same old, same old. And to add to that, I'm a chemist by training. I don't code. So the coding community is not my natural habitat, even though a lot of my dear friends are coders. But like it really takes all kinds. It takes all kinds, and everyone to step up to support the community.
That's a really interesting point. That you don't have to be, a Python ninja, if there is such a thing, to make a contribution.
Right, and Ruby on Rails. What I don't even know what that means. Mike will explain it to me. But
you become more familiar with it, by immersing yourself in a long weekend of executing something. You start to get a sense for what coders can and cannot do, and that's another cool element of this.
I think one of the things I learned, if you look at the YouTube videos, talk to AJ, and he's lesson learned number 5, and he says in there, point blank says, I'm a coder. And my instinct is to write code. And I come here, you learn that, no, that's not the first thing you do. So, I mean, this is really an enlightening, it's an awesome experience for the attendees. But I told everyone they learned a great deal, but I learned 15 times more because I went around, with 15 teams. And so I learned a great deal, and I think my coaching skills have improved, and it's the attendees were really awesome. They we were there to learn together and execute together, and kind of and watch them grow. That was really delightful.
Extremely cool. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and the other organizers. What all did you guys find compelling about this, and what else do you guys do?
Well, so Mike Brenner is one of the co-founders of Baltimore, which is a space that should be opening up soon in Baltimore, and it's a great space. It's for co-working, for learning. I think they have some kind of accelerator program, and I'm looking forward to that opening. It's at baltimore.com. Nick Miller, of course, of Parking Panda, that speaks for itself. That company is grown since. I mean, my understanding is he went to Startup Weekend last year on a whim. He had a job. And after winning it, decided to quit a job and pursue it. Parking Panda is launched in Baltimore, DC, and they recently got written up in TechCrunch. They launched in San Francisco. It's just, we're all very happy for success and look forward to following the adventures of the Panda. Me, like I said, I'm the chemist in the group. I don't have any computer background, but I run the Baltimore Lean Startup Group. And Lean Startup seeks to address one fundamental question for startups: are you building something that somebody will buy? Because most startups fail, and they fail for one reason of no customers. They don't fail, for technical reasons. And Lean Startup, very simply, the way I explain it to my parents is, it's about running the simplest experiments to quickly validate business assumptions. Okay, so before, all entrepreneurs have these great visions, idea of a big product, bells and whistles, but before you spend a lot of money started building it and then getting to market, finding out nobody wants to buy it, is you can run experiments to validate your assumptions about the customers, their problems, and what solution they're looking for. And this is really what Lean Startup is all about. And one of our motto, my co-organizer's name is Casey Corcoran. He works General Dynamics and healthcare IT. Our motto is going where no lean has gone before. We are very happy servicing our coding friends, that community, but we seek to reach out to other silos and that could, I think, benefit from methodology. So we have metrics such as, in addition to using 4 different venues around Baltimore, I have to bring in speakers from 12 different industry sectors and recruit members from 12 different industry sectors. So that's what, like I said, for me, doing the customer development, that's what I enjoy doing, and so I really enjoy contributing that part to Startup Weekend. And people are
the human chemistry, if you will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so I really
business card, yeah.
So if people are interested, they can certainly Google Baltimore Lean Startup. And so if you ask, why do people participate and become organizers? We're not getting paid. There's no limousine, there are no groupies. But in fact, we are all of this community. And I think Mike, Nick, and I agree that we have a vested interest in the success of the community. And so this is really why we did it. And for me, I mean, it's natural. It's just part of what I've been doing, and Mike and Nick as well. And so, so my next meetup, as it happens, is on October 30th, and the theme is, the title is Resources for Entrepreneurs and Startups. And so it kind of flows, and I expect to see some of the folks who started off at Startup Weekend Baltimore to show up, and to give you just some idea of who's going to be presenting. I'm dedicating almost half of the program to organizations and programs that support women entrepreneurs. So Chris Appel is going to be there talking about the Activate program. Julie Lenza-Kirk, who was the co-chair of Startup Maryland, is going to be there. Greg Cangulosi, of course, the co-founder of the Baltimore Angels, is going to be talking about funding. And finally, Clay Hickson, who's the president of the Maryland Business Incubation Association, is going to be there to share with us, what the different incubation programs around town. And so that's kind of my interest is supporting local entrepreneurship, and helping them succeed.
Well, that's amazing. It's a great lineup you've got there for October 30th, and we at gb.tc aspire to a lean approach to nonprofit organizations. So I need to make sure I darken your doors very soon.
All you have to do is I can't do this alone. You have an idea for a theme, just call me up, send me an email, we'll work together. I mean, I don't want to do anything alone. It's not fun. I try to collaborate on everything with other people. It's more fun, you learn more, and it's again, one person cannot do these things, as you guys at gb.tc certainly know. And so if otherwise it doesn't matter. It's not about just me getting it done, and it's about the community involvement, and that's what makes it so much fun. It's hard work, but it's worth it. But you have to put in the hard work. This takes time, building communities and connections, and ultimately you have to serve your community. If they're not interested, that means you're not serving them what they want, and that's what it's about.
But ultimately that's going to redound to everybody's benefit, and we all have kind of a collective self-interest in promoting that community, and it'll make it a lot easier for all of us to get the things we want to do done. So that's really cool, and that's an inspirational note on which to thank you for appearing on Baltimore Weekly. And I'm going to shift in a moment to our regular event.
Baltimore Lean Startup. You can Google it.
Yeah, Baltimore Lean Startup, easier to Google than it's a meetup, right?
Yes,
on
it's
meetup.com. Okay, yeah, or you can search on meetup.com. But thanks so much, Sarge, and we will see you around.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
All right. Okay,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, well, guys, that another cool interview with somebody doing cool things in Baltimore is always fun to do. Now I'm just going to turn briefly to some of the usual flood of oncoming events. Let's take a little sip from the fire hose, if we will, of the community calendar that we maintain at go.gb.tc. And let's take a look. So tonight, Wednesday, October 10th, the Baltimore Drupal meetup is happening at Bertha's Restaurant. Always worth checking out if you are into that particular open source CMS. Also, the Baltimore UX Book Club is talking about Clout, the art and science of influential web content, and that's at the offices of the Burnt Group on Falls Road. Going into Thursday, we have the Change Party being thrown by the local social enterprise startup GiveCore. You can find out the details about this wonderful celebration. For many of you, all that you'll need to be convinced to attend is that food and drink will be provided by Woodbury Kitchen. Also, I should mention Thursday morning is the Columbia edition of Ron Schmelzer's Tech Breakfast. And some of the companies presenting there down at the Loyola Columbia campus are Vi Network, Magpie, and Money Pinchers. And I think there will be well over 100 Howard County Columbian folks talking about startups. Skipping ahead a little bit to this to next week. It's a big week highlighted by Thursday's Ignite Baltimore 11 being held at the Maryland Institute College of Art Brown Center, and that is always a great party and event. 16 amazing Baltimoreans will speak about their favorite subjects on which they're most passionate for 5 minutes with 16 slides advancing automatically. The adrenaline is palpable, and you'll learn a lot and meet a lot of interesting people. I should mention also on Tuesday the 16th is an interesting little thing in the morning, the Baltimore Hardware Design Engineers Breakfast. That's at 8 a.m. in Pikesville, and definitely worth checking out. That's a growing and important community, and there's some really smart people involved in that particular group. I should mention also the 16th is the excuse me. This is another important one that I started to overlook, which is the Baltimore Mobile Meetup, which is happening at the wonderful space of AOLadvertising.com that Sarge talked about as the host of Startup Weekend Baltimore. The Baltimore Mobile Meetup is going to be there, and the headliners are our good friends at Friends of the Web. They're going to be talking about their experiences with the wildly and unexpectedly successful Jittergram app, also their other iOS app, WikiWeb, and there's some really smart guys with some wonderful design sense and a really interesting approach to building products. So that promises to be a particularly illuminating Baltimore mobile meetup. I should mention also that October 16th is, excuse me, is the day that we honor the women engineers and technologists, and I'm just pulling up the link here just so you know why I am pausing. Look for finding, sorry. Well, if you go to findingada.com or the Twitter account findingada, you'll read about the global observances of Ada Lovelace Day. Ada Lovelace is considered the first computer programmer, and she's actually a relative of Lord Byron, the poet, which should give you a hint. She lived in the early 19th century and wrote the first program used on Babbage's difference engine, I think it was called, which is really considered by many to be the first computer. So she was a brilliant mathematician and technologist in an era, before computers really existed. So it's very cool that there is this long tradition of women technologists that are being honored. So look for events all over the world that you can follow along. Just go to findingada.com. That's it for this week. Our big news at gb.tc is November 1st, fast approaching, is the new reconfigured, rejuvenated Tech Night. It takes place at the Lexington Market Atrium on the evening of Thursday, November 1st. Look for some amazing new awards that we'll be distributing to some of the most interesting people in our community. Look for terrific food and drink provided by Baltimore merchants and food stalls, we can promise it's going to be a fun and interesting time. After party at the Alewife bar down the street, and a chance to really shine a light on some very old forms of commerce with some very new forms of commerce and technology. So do join us. The other headline is that in contrast to previous years, this year's Tech Night costs a mere $40 to attend, which is a little bit more accessible than the past ticket price, which was around $180. So we hope to see a really broad and interesting group of people there. So thank you so much for your attention, and promise we'll be back on a more regular basis, hopefully with my my lovely co-host next week. Again, you can find out more about cool things happening in our community by going to our community calendar at go.gb.tc. If you have questions about that or this program or anything else, feel free to write us at ask@gb.tc. And again, I'm Andrew Hazlett. You can reach me at a@gb.tc. Thanks so much. We'll see you on the ether next week. Take care.